shining a beacon on the bazaar.
Well, this can't go on, our kid. It's been 30 days since the Orca surrounded us.
I know, we're nearly running out of beer.
Well, we've run out of beer. It's all you bothered about.
Well, what are you bothered about?
We've run out of meat.
I don't care about that.
Well, we have run out. There's no Watsits left.
Oh, man, it's getting bad. We've never had this before.
We're down to the last fish finger.
Shit, you're joking.
Yeah.
What we're going to do, Matt?
Right. So we've tried everything now. We've been out on the little boat. We've tried to sort of harpoon all the whales and everything. That didn't happen.
Mate, I was chucking tuna at them the other day just to say, look, have it, you know what I mean?
Fucking tuna, we wanted that.
I thought you might appease
I
them.
wouldn't you encouraged them. I was like crazy for the tuna.
I opened it. I thought they might eat it and go away.
Well, more of them turned up. The tuna hungry.
I chummed the waters a bit on that.
No, that's it. We're going to need a bigger island. So, only one thing we can do.
What?
Black magic.
Oh, cool. Let's get that shit on.
What I've decided to do, what we're going to do, we're going to actually summon the beast spirits of the Orca.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's it. The soul of the Orca. Ooh. The original father spirit of the Orca.
Nothing can go wrong there, our kid. That's a diamond plan.
No, that's the way we need to do it, right?
Yes.
So, the spirit of the Orca is called Anthony.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Quite plain, isn't it? Anthony. Tony? Just Anthony?
Yeah. I think he answers to Tony as well. Yeah, I think he does. Yeah, so we'll be all right with that. I mean, they are a matriarchal society, you see.
If you say so, our kid.
So it's usually... We have discussed this before.
Does that... Oh, mother. The mother. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, that's it. You will get it.
I'll just think a bit.
It's not easy.
It isn't.
So, yeah, they are a matriarchal society, so it's the female line that really counts.
Yeah.
But... Anthony, the dad of all the Orcas, you see, the sort of the god dad version sort of thing. He's out there, you know, he's pottering around.
Fucking call him, our kid.
So I'm hoping that he'll come in and whoop some ass.
Phone number, what do we do?
No, we've got to go through an incantation.
Oh, right.
That's the thing. So gather around the campfire.
Yep.
Right, here we go now. So like
beautiful.
So what I did earlier, I needed a little bit of blood for the sacrifice,
nice.
Sort of thing. So so I'm just going to stamp on this puffin.
Got cross-eyed anyway, and look at him.
It's a bit of a wonky puffin. Yeah. So it's like, he's cross-eyed because we look at his beak all the time. Vein puffin, very vain puffin. Yeah,
stomp him, Marky, stomp him.
Here we are, 1, 2, 3, and... that wasn't nice, was it?
Mate, shot out everywhere.
Yeah, that's it, puffin
plenty
blood.
Of blood, though.
Yeah, plenty of blood. So that's it, loads of puffin blood. So that's what we need to do now. So, right. So we'll start the incantation, right? So, like... You need to do some sort of chanting.
All right, I think I can pull it out of bag.
Yeah, you're quite good at that, right? So a bit of low chanting.
Yeah.
Great God Anthony, King of the Orca, come from the dark blue deeps now. I foresee thee to come. Come to us, Anthony. Come out of the sea.
Oh, it's working.
Wow.
Shit alive.
Whoa, what is that?
I've never seen an orca of that size before.
Fucking stinks again. He always stinks.
It's beached itself. It's slithering like a great eel up the beach.
Scabs all over it and open wounds.
Ancient god of the
must be old. I'm
We'll
down.
worship the orca. Huh? We're gonna have to beseech it to do our bidding.
Love you, Tony.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. Would you do us a favour? What we need to do, we need a bit of freedom, you see, because we need to get off the island. We need to deliver our VHS of the podcast to the
we need what's it some beer.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tony.
What saith thee, Anthony?
It's not opening.
Whoa!
He's bursting apart. He's ripping apart.
Oh, his stomach, something's coming out. His stomach's like alien.
Oh, fuck. It's Rowboat Pete.
He's back. You alright, Pete? Alright.
Yeah. Fucking hell, look at that. So basically what seems to me, he's survived being eaten by the orca.
He's just been living, he's been eating it internally by looks at his red beard.
He's got tuna in his beard.
I've been keeping him going.
Oh, fucking hell.
It's my pleasure, Pete.
Jesus. You know, the thing is, he stinks, but not as bad as normal.
Of course, it's better, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it looks all glistening with sort of like...
like digested off him or something, you know what I mean?
How are you feeling, Pete?
As a sexy moose.
Oh, fair play. That's all right. Is that, yeah?
You can't fault that.
So, what do you plan now, Pete? What's the idea? What are you going to do?
I could fuck a sea cucumber. Where's my grog? Where's my piss?
Oh, yeah, all right, you do that. I'm going, fuck off, Pete.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah, we got some casting to
At
do.
least he's back. We don't have to get a new one.
That's it.
Excellent.
He's going for the little boat. So, if he's in the boat now, let's see the Orca attack him. Off he goes. Hey, he's going to the mainland.
Love you, baby.
Oh,
Beer and crisps on the menu.
Yeah.
Fish fingers and all, you mucky old tramp.
Yeah, this is it. So we're back on it,
Oh,
and
that's
you know
better.
Yeah, because this is Kraken Cove, the podcast that shines a beacon onto the bizarre. And I'm Matt.
I'm Benny.
And this is the official episode 100
Wow,
of Kraken
a
Cove.
century?
Yeah, we've done 100.
That's amazing, isn't it?
I was listening to some sort of fact the other day about podcasts, and they reckon that only something like 5% get past episode 20 or something. Or
Oh,
episode 10.
right, yeah.
So to get to episode 100 is actually really, really difficult.
Yeah.
And we've plugged away, we've done
I can't
it.
remember when we started. How many years we've been doing it?
2 or 3 years now.
Yeah. I think it might be 3. It's like pre-COVID, isn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah. So we've been plugging away at the old show.
Yeah.
I think we've done quite well.
I enjoy it.
What we'll have to do is start releasing a few episodes.
Yeah, it'd be nice,
I
wouldn't
didn't tell you, did I?
It's never been out there.
Just been letting them stack up sort of old news and that.
Instant news agents, loads of VHSs that Pete's deleted.
Yeah, that's it. Just sitting on them all, yeah. Put them in wrong box. Just like little B movies all laid up, all VHSs with all the shows on it, you know what I mean? It's like, you know.
Oh, 100's good though, I'm proud of that.
Yeah,
Proud.
good.
Well done, Skip.
But we're not necessarily got a special episode planned for it, because people think, oh, right, got to do this, got to do that. And I think I was sort of overthinking it a little bit.
Yeah,
do
yeah.
too much. And do you know what? Every episode's special at Kraken Cove.
Exactly, it's very true, is that?
Yeah, that's it.
We've got a little bonus episode coming just for 100. I did a little bit of something. Well, that's coming down the pipeline.
What we'll say is
Yeah.
the fact is Benny has done a seance.
A full-on fucking seance.
So there's hijinks and fun to be had from that. So
Yeah.
what we might be doing is releasing that as video.
Yeah.
So we're going to get it
Well,
on.
it's going to be hopefully audio and video, but it's a lot of work to it. There's fucking 3.5 hours of this shit. I need to rattle
3
this
episodes
down.
there,
I'm
I
going to
guess.
say, no, we need to really edit that down.
Yeah, so we go, well, but he says we.
Yeah.
What he means is, you really need to edit that down, man.
Well, I'm trying on my Etch-a-Sketch and it's just been fucking doing
So when I get a chance, I've been a very busy boy.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
when we get a chance, we're going to get ourselves the episode of the seance.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll be entertaining, fun, and something a bit different. I've not had a chance to listen to it yet, but seriously, there's a chance that there could have been some sort of perhaps shenanigans, some kind of summoning going on.
We were very silly at the beginning of it. Very silly. And I had a little bit of tomfoolery involved as well, just to
You
get
gotta
some
get that
ideas.
system.
Exactly. But later on it did go fucking weird, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's worth listening to because we did go serious at the end and we did get something, a little bit out of it.
So it could be fun.
Yes.
So, yeah, so it's a little bit different from Kraken Cove. So we might be releasing a seance special, and that might be coming out. It's definitely going to come out as an episode.
Yeah.
And it's possibly going to come out on our, because we do actually have a YouTube channel,
Yes,
which we
yeah,
just
yeah.
don't do anything with.
I'll bang video on that once it's
Yeah,
done.
that's it.
Yeah.
We do that, yeah. But we can find us on like Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Podbean. Obviously, that's our host. You know, and if you did want to get in touch with us, it's krakencovepodcast at gmail.com, or it's Kraken Cove, krakencovepodcast at gmail.com. It's krakencovepod at Instagram, and on Twitter we are Kraken Cove. So send us an email with all your little messages or ideas and things.
Or any weird stories that has happened to you. Anything weird at all, let us know.
Yeah, feel free to DM me as well, because I do have some DMs from people who I do know. In fact, we've got one today from a message from people. We're going to go through that a little bit later on.
Nice.
Yeah, a little bit of
someone's out there!
Yeah, we did. We get a few stories in. Yeah, we got a few
cool.
dips and dabs in. Yeah, something like that. We got a message from Mr. Drem, who's a regular listener, saying that it was at the Poo Museum recently.
Poo Museum!
And he did get the explanation why white dog poo's not around anymore. And it's what I've always said, which is the fact that dogs aren't eating bones.
That's it.
Yeah, that's the thing. So apparently, wolf shit turns white.
Does it?
Yeah, that kind of
turns
thing.
white.
Well, it does, because all the minerals and stuff leach out of it, just leaving the calcium sort of skeleton of the turd behind.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
We'd have to smell
it like that. It's a skeleton of a turd, because it is made of bone.
Gee, that's weird, isn't it? I bet the smell goes as well, Arky.
You hope so. Yeah, I wonder what it smells like.
Shit.
Let's get casting, Arky. Now, the first boat out of the harbour today, Arkid, is... I'm not sure if you class it as Fortean. It's definitely strange, right? But I couldn't stop giggling.
That's the main thing, Arkid.
Right. And it's the strange death of Garry Hoy.
All right.
Now, Garry Hoy, right, he was...
couldn't stop giggling at the death of that. You wrong'un.
I don't think it's like with Garry Hoy, right? So Garry Hoy, right, was a 38-year-old corporate and securities lawyer, right? And he worked for a Toronto-based law firm called Holden Day Wilson, sorry. And I've seen photos of him. He seems like a really highly respected, decent kind of guy. But he is almost like your archetypical Chad sort of thing, you know?
Chad?
Yeah, you know, you're sort of like, okay, bro.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
He's a bit of a
go for a cup of choo-choo.
Yeah, he's that guy. He's going for a cup of choo-choo. He's that guy, right? And he's sort of obsessed with the modern architecture of his building, right?
Yeah.
So he had this sort of thing where he'd be like, you know, they're talking to people about how bloody great, you know, he's this amazing sort of tower block they're in, how well engineered everything is, how safe everything is and all that, right? And he had a little party trick he liked to do, right? Which was, he'd like to just run full tilt at the window, jump in there and throw himself against the window, boing, just bounce off it, right?
Fucking hell.
Just to prove how strong everything is and how well designed this is, right?
Wow! I can see.
So on the 9th of July 1993, so a good while back now, a reception was held for law students interested in apprenticeships at Holden Day Lewis, right? So there's loads of young ones there. Garry Hoy was giving a tour.
I see what you mean now. I see what you mean.
Decided to demonstrate his favourite party trick. Throwing himself against the window of Toronto Dominion Bank Tower so the students could see just how resilient the crowd was.
The thing is, he's in the, you're in the crowd, aren't you, doing the tour?
Yeah.
And he's one of them who hasn't gone to the window, he's run to the window, hasn't he? So he's like turned away from them and ran.
Yeah. So he's telling them all about the building, right? He's boasting how amazing well made it is, right? But then he threw himself in the window, right? And what occurred next happened all too quickly and no doubt left everyone in the room utterly horrified.
Jesus!
Instead of bouncing off the window, Hoy went straight through, plunging 24 stories below.
Oh my God.
But the glass didn't shatter. It just popped out.
So he's sliding about on the glass up way down, feeling it and that. Oh, and it slips off and he's like, ooh.
Well, can you imagine? You get this demonstration of how amazing this tower is. Like, he's boasting. Apparently, he's a bit of a blowhard, bit of a show off. He likes being a showman sort of thing. So it's like, you know, because obviously he'd do this and people were quite shocked.
Like,
you know,
the boing, he's back in the room. Hey, told you.
Yeah, there he is. Gary's there. What a guy Gary is. You know what I mean?
Jesus, that's worse than the smash, actually, isn't it? The whole plate going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then that, you know, you stood there and the wind's coming in and that, and you realise you're high up, don't you?
Well, the thing is, what if you're giving the tour, right? So all these people, I don't know if you've been, well, you remember sort of like being in buildings where somebody's giving a tour.
Yeah,
There's one guy there giving a tour. You've got 10, 15 people wandering on. They don't know anybody.
Yeah.
Door opens, everyone in the office looks at them. It's like Gary's there. Hi everyone, hi. You know what I mean? It's like wandering through. They don't know these students. The students are a bit nervy. Oh, hello. You know what I mean? All this sort of thing. You know. So, but then the guy giving the demonstration suddenly hurls himself out the window.
Because I hope he normally does his second speech after. I hope he didn't say, right, I'm going to do this. I hope he's just like, right,
yeah, hey, check this out.
Yeah, and then it's like, this is how strong the building is. He can do, you know what I mean? They just, there's no reason for it. Like, he just went mad.
I think he'll have done it just for the shock factor.
Yeah.
He will, I don't think he goes, hey, check this out.
Yeah. And he just bang! He'd look behind you like, what the fuck is he running from?
Well, the thing is, when he said, hey, check this out, big grin on his face, hurls himself, like, goes straight to the window, disappears, screaming, down 24 stories. And everyone else standing around going, well, what?
Yeah.
What now? Because they're leaderless.
Yeah, they don't know where to go, do they? They're lost.
They're looking around, and everyone else working will just do this sort of like, pop. Ah! They're going, what just happened? What? Where's Gary?
Where's the whole window?
He didn't do that thing, did he?
Oh my god! What did any reports of the noise of him going down or anything? Did
Nothing. All the same, he was a £160 man. So you know, he's a big built guy. You know what I mean? So it's
just running at it.
So just it's like it was just a one hit. God. It was just one hit.
Oh, then wind, douche, and then the wind.
Because I wonder if he did scream.
Yeah, I think you would.
I think because he would. I think the shock at first, he just thought, what, and then I think it'd be 4 or 5 stories. Yeah, yeah. You just think, oh shit.
I think he'd scream.
Well, I wonder even if the glass that he's on is protecting him from the wind, and he's just sort of feeling himself against the glass, going, "It's not good." What? Then he looks through the glass. Yeah. What's happening?
Whoa, that feeling if he were on it, and he's looking through it. Oh,
because he won't feel the wind. Yeah. All he'll be doing is looking through the glass at the ground, speeding towards him.
I always swear in an intense situation. I always get a swear out. No what?
I'd be definitely saying fuck, shit, bollocks, shit, fucking hell, fuck. Yeah.
Car crash and all that. That's the only thing I do is fuck.
Car crash and all that because you've been in so many.
Yeah, a few.
Some my fault, some not. Yeah. Easy come, easy go.
Look at our fucking gnarled car. You know what I mean?
All I know is I swear like a trooper. Somebody were mentioning one of your car crashes on the day.
One of my car crashes? Was it the roundabout?
No.
One? Which one?
It was the one where you're going along Headingley, right?
Oh, God, yeah.
And you saw them girls and you're trying to give up glad eye and you're sort of standing out. You
turn back round again like, oh,
there's a car parked in front of you and you're doing about 35 mile an hour straight to the back of it.
Yeah, that were a bad. Fucking had half ounce in back at car.
The world's worst dealer. It's like something from fucking Pulp Fiction. Jesus Christ.
No, that was bad.
No, so they say, look how you so. I mean, to be fair, is it a bad or a good way to die?
Awful way to die.
Look, if you think about it, Garry Hoy, he's kind of made his name, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It was an idiot's way to die.
You could do that. You could do that now, couldn't you? Guys, set yourself on fire and run through a supermarket.
No, that's disturbing. Right, but this is funny.
All right, yeah, in the funny annual.
I mean, you kind of got to hold your hand up. I mean, did he feel stupid? He's got 24 stories.
Did he have time to blush?
Yeah.
I wonder if he did. You never know.
Well, he started getting his Canadian into so it's like he had that little bit of polite side to it, like, gosh dang.
Yeah. Smash. Oh. Wow. That's big, innit? Imagine he's seeing it from ground.
I know, but the thing is as well, you just said, wouldn't you?
And both of them flying out with getting closer to you.
And that'd be a bad thing to say.
That'd be really bad.
Bad thing to say with that. But at the same time, everybody in that building who knew Garry Hoy and knew he did this thing and knew what had happened.
Yeah.
Round the water cooler.
Bellend.
Yeah, you bellend. That's what everyone would be
got
saying.
what he deserved,
yeah, you're
didn't it?
thinking, you fucking idiot.
Especially if you're doing it against the same window all the time.
I know,
you know?
just really weakening
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
It's
again
when
and
you can see
again.
it creaking and that, and you sort of think, Gary, if I were you...
I can feel a breeze here, Gary. I don't know if you should do that
Yeah, but
trick
would you
anymore.
throw yourself against the
Would
window?
I
like-
fuck?
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust anything like that ever.
Do you know what I wouldn't... You know those glass floors?
Yeah, I don't want to go on them.
I'm
All
not
those
going on
bridges.
them.
No.
What's the point?
No, absolutely. There's no point. There is no point. Except
No.
for that fucking horrible feeling like you're going to die. No.
Yeah,
It's that
exactly.
roller coaster. I'm not getting on any of them. Have you seen state of people get fucking...
Hallelujah, I'm glad you've said that.
Oh mate, they're a death trap, absolute fucking death trap. You're getting on a ride that's maimed and killed people, and it's like, yeah, he's killed people.
The only reason people get on them is to feel alive, because they're so close to death.
It must be. It must be.
I don't need
No,
that.
I don't at all. I'm absolutely fine.
I only, the last proper roller coaster I went on, it was because when the kids were little,
Yeah.
and we'd all gone to some amusement park, and because the kids were only little, they could only go on the teacups and little dragon ride and all this sort of stuff, you know what I mean? All little stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I'm wandering around, we've been there for hours, and I'm thinking to myself, we spent a fortune on this, and we've not gone on any rides.
Yeah.
I've just stood here with bloody, nappy sacks and bloody
Yeah.
bags and stuff like this, and I've been waiting. And I thought, we spent for 2 adults and 2 kids to come out, and we've not gone on anything.
Yeah,
And I mentioned this to my wife, and she sort of says, all right, well, what do you want to do about it? I said, well, I want to go on a bloody ride.
Yeah, give me the biggest.
Yeah, she goes, well, which one do you want to go on? And I said, that one.
Yeah.
Right, and it's you've all seen it now. It's like it looks like a donut around a pole sort of thing,
All right.
and you're getting the donut.
Not one of them arms that chucks you about.
No, it just goes, and then just drops you.
Oh yes.
One of them, right? See, one of these rides. So it will go up this thing, and the view was astonishing. It was absolutely amazing view, right over it. So you think, well, this is long. Right. And then it drags you up and drops you again. Then it goes drops you again.
I've had it up!
Yeah. So I get off and there's loads of photos of me on it, you know what I mean? Our mouth open, red face.
Screaming.
You know, get off and wife and kids are like, oh, Daddy, I was eating. You go, right, I'm going home. Come on, go on, get in car. We're off.
Never going. Never going back here.
Stop crying. We're getting in car. Go on, get out.
Every time, I don't even enjoy them as a kid. You're just getting thrown about. You can't see what's going on. And those ones with those arms that's chucking you about all over. What is them? Oh no.
Do you know what is a nice one?
Yeah.
Is a little log thing that goes like a little
log shoot or something.
Yeah. No, just chugs on like a little stream.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm there on that, baby. Yeah. I'm
And
all right
occasionally you
with
might
stuff
see like a cheeky giraffe that squirts water or something.
Yeah,
or you might
yeah.
see something like that. Just gives you a bit of just chugging around.
That's
and that.
all right.
And even better the ones where they're a bit high up and look out over like a little zoo sort of thing. So
Oh,
you can see
nice.
some zebras and
Yeah.
things or some capybaras.
One of them little trains that goes around. I quite like those
I
little
like them, yeah.
trains.
I just like moving really
Yeah,
slowly.
yeah. No, I'm game with that. Mate.
I don't need to be thrown around like an idiot.
I don't get them, mate. They look awful. It's terrifying.
If you want a fucking thrill, like throw yourself against the glass of a multi-story building,
Yeah.
and see what happens. see what you get.
Yeah, you get that
that's
for
it.
free.
Yeah,
Well
exactly.
deserved. That's what you get.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One thing I sort of like, because I'm still going through the dystopian science fiction.
Yeah, you're still on it? Still on the train?
Still on the train.
What are you on now?
Well, I've just finished. Obviously, I'm a big fan. I've been blowing the trumpet of
2001.
2001: Space Odyssey.
You
Right?
do 2010. I've never read that one.
Yeah, don't. It's shit.
Oh, is it?
It's a fucking stinker.
Wow.
It is a stinker of a book. He's obviously been told to write this book, and then he said, "I don't want to write. I've got no ideas for it."
Yeah.
And then they've sort of said, "Right, no, here's £1 million. Do a book." And he's
Yeah,
obviously said, "I
you're
don't
on
want it. It's not
contract.
worth it. I have no ideas still."
Yeah.
Then we'll say, "Well, tell you what, we'll send Sandra from accounts to help you."
Yeah.
And it's just it's almost like part sci-fi book, part Mills and Boon. It's just mental.
Oh God.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's a shit book. Yeah.
Has it got Brody out of Jaws in it still?
Well, yeah, but not in book. But weirdly enough, actually, yeah, because you can imagine him.
You go, that's good.
Yeah, you can imagine him. But he's. In fact, I am going to give you spoilers in it, right?
Yeah.
That Dave, who is sort of like HAL 9000, he's always saying, Dave, I don't want you to do this, Dave.
Yeah.
But he sort of travels through the stars and everything like that. It's weird. He goes through that mad thing at the end of 2001, right? Yeah. Well, he basically becomes like a spirit sort of energy.
Dave or Hal?
Dave.
Oh yeah. I remember that from movie.
Dave becomes this sort of this spirit energy sort of thing, right? Like you say, he becomes old and everything. But what that represents in him leaving his body and becoming like this reborn again baby. Wow. So at the end, you see his baby. That's him,
Baby Dave.
Wow. But I'd be reborn again as a spirit energy entity driven by and part of this strange.
I remember that from movies. Next to the fridge, he turns up like a ghost next to a fridge somewhere in Brody's kitchen.
Well, that's in the book. Yeah, that happens. It's that kind of shit. But he goes on these mad little missions on Earth to sort of like see his mum or see people.
Oh no!
And these loads of little love interest things. And
no!
Yeah, it's fucking mental.
Yeah, he's next to Brody, fucking next to the fridge. You've been playing on them swings again. Told you not to.
Get out of the water!
Fucking hell.
Absolute horseshit. So avoid it.
Yeah.
But I've just finished a book. Right, it's called The Great Forgotten Dystopian Book.
Wow.
Right, and it's by Amy Dick, I believe it's called. Right. Do you know what I even said when I was going to mention it? That you'd do a little chuckle. I knew that. I said the word Dick.
You can't be called Amy Dick.
It's called Amy Dick. Right?
Amy Dick End.
And it's a book called They.
Alright.
And the weird thing, it's such a strange book, really weirdly written as well. And it's almost like a sequence of like small nightmares in a weird way.
Right.
And it's imagine like almost like a 1920s or 30s or 40s, like a, sort of idyllic kind of scenes where people are going on little picnics on beaches and walking on the sort of like sand dunes and hills and stuff, and they're living in little sort of villages places. And the artists, so they're sort of painting and like little sort of collectives where they get together and they'll draw, paint, work together and investigate each other's work. Yet there'll be this, and then they'll say, and we looked over towards the top of the sand dunes, and 3 figures stood there watching. And it's all written in these very clipped, crystalline kind of lines, very sort of cool and not sort of, and it's so disturbing.
Who were 3 people on top of the hill?
They.
Oh.
They were there. They were watching.
Well, they don't really interact, they're just there or something.
Well, it's like then she'll get home from one of these little beaches and stuff, and she'll just go in a room and everything's fine, and she'll realize one of her books has been taken. And then another book and another book. And what it is, it's a world where they, or them, don't want any art, anything creative, anything made, no music, no writing, no sort of painting.
No telly?
No televisions, absolutely. That's what's encouraged.
Cool. Jesus, it were a nightmare then.
But that's always on in every room at all times, sort of thing. In these other rooms, sort of things.
Yeah.
The TV's on, so everybody's watching TV. They're not making or anything; they're just consuming.
Yeah.
That's what her kind of nightmare vision is. This constant consumption without creation, sort of thing. And anybody who's making
should be called me. There's Ben stood on the hill watching. He borrowed one of my books, the twat.
I won't return it.
It's mine now.
I put it under my TV. It was a bit low.
Yeah. My chair had a bit of a wobble. I can watch telly proper now. Are they proper people? Are they ghosts?
They are people. It's almost like almost like the masses. Almost. It's like got to the point where everybody's
also the poets are outnumbered.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So they're kind of almost like hunted, but it's not like a government collective. It's almost like there's been some sort of quiet coup where these people have taken over bit by bit, and the general masses sort of really support. Do you know? It's almost like the dumbed down sort of politics of going on at the moment now, where they talk about sort of like, oh, we're all sick to the death of so-called experts.
I'd seen
and people
that.
talk, there's been a massive thing.
Dangerous.
Massive thing through COVID was that huge thing where saying, oh, we're sick of the opinions of bloody experts. What we need is some good, honest, sort of common sense. Vaccines could kill us, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you got to keep things like that in mind. But that's what this is. It's sort of where the mass is. So it's like these lovely towns. Then people, they'll call them sightseers. They call them.
Yeah.
So they'll hear that an atrocity might have gone on in a village or a town or something, and the sightseers turn up, and they encourage the kids to piss against the walls or throw litter.
Wow.
And they're always incredibly cruel. So you'll see a bunch of like little 5 or 6 year olds like running and giggling. And they're playing and running, and then they'll sort of like do something, and then as they run away laughing, they'll find like a dead kitten with its eyes poked out on the floor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's these sort of really unsettling, dark actions. But then each... What's this?
It's garden.
Yeah, fair enough.
You're so grumpy, it's unbelievable, I love it.
Anyway. But each chapter is a new story.
Right,
So it's
but
not
set
like
in that world.
Set in that world, but even
Yeah.
that world's slightly different. And then that same person then is on another, almost like they've woken up from, or they've slipped into another dream sequence.
Oh, it sounds a bit of a fucking nightmare,
Yeah,
does it? I don't like it.
Yeah, it's unsettling as all
Yeah,
hell.
it really sounds
But it's brilliant. When I say it, I mean, having done a bit of writing, I know good writing.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is really good writing.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good writing.
Where does she get inspiration for shit like that from? It's
Yeah,
it must be a
it's just
dark.
sort of, it is just utter. Well, it's from being she is a lesbian, and I think
Ironic.
Yeah, how do you mean?
Go with penny drops, you'll get there eventually. What's the name?
Amy Dick. Fucking hell.
Just saying.
Fuck's sake.
Oh,
Anyway,
sorry.
Anyway, so but the thing with it is, it's that thing of being an outsider or shunned.
Yeah.
And especially this novel's written about 1977.
Wow. Yeah.
Where, and of course the rise of things like TV and that kind of medium, you
we're
could think
taking over.
taking over.
Yeah.
That sort of even early forms like video and film, that kind of film, rather than just cinema. It was this sort of thing was taking over people's lives. People were going out and doing things less.
Yeah.
Sitting in
And
and
just the
watching.
4 channels as well. Now we've got so much choice.
Well,
no
it was
one's
3 then.
Yeah, but that's the scary thing. Everybody watching the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
It was like suddenly like a weird church thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it didn't matter what was on.
Yeah,
you know
it
what
was
I mean?
getting watched,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
getting watched, and that's the thing. They were just thinking, well, hang about, why do you do that? And I just found this. It was genuinely unsettling and unnerving, but also very, very thought provoking. So it's called They by Amy Dick. Don't laugh. But it's only slim volume as well. The great lost dystopian novel it is being described, and I give it a 10 out of 10, mate. Absolutely
love
brilliant.
it.
Yeah, really, really good.
I'm enjoying your little sci-fi corner books. Yeah,
Sci-fi corner is a bit unusual. Really.
Sci-fi corner.
Sci-fi corner. To be honest, I've got about 5 new in the offing as well.
Oh, yeah. Good,
yeah.
man.
I don't know the name of the writer of this one. I can't remember. I've just started reading. It's called Ice. So I'll let you know how that one goes.
Well, please do.
Yeah. So that's pretty
Stay
fun.
tuned for more, listeners.
Now, there's another little subject that's quite close to my heart, which is I'm going to cover a little bit here. We've got about 4 stories here, maybe three or four stories. And this is just from Reddit, is this? Yeah. And it's something I'm trying to look into a little bit more, but it's kind of a bit unnerving, unusual, and comes under other little banners.
Yeah.
but it's real life goblin sightings.
I tell you what, I was thinking about them other week. You had the Argentinian one where it was like gnomes or something we were on about. That was a scary fucking video, that's lingered in the Benny brain.
Yeah, that's me, yeah. Well, there's quite similar videos to that.
Yeah.
I've seen for goblin sightings as well, where it's just these little things just kind of rock up. And you just see something waddling into sight and grinning, you know what I mean? And there's a story I've tried to find, and I might have even mentioned it on the Cove before, where it was just outside Leeds. Do you know as you go up Gelderd Road? Away from, up towards sort of IKEA kind of way. Yeah. Far away from the Cove. But up round there, it's all a bit weird between
that weird graveyard that looks like fucking Good, the Bad and the Ugly on the left hand side.
Yeah, that's a Jewish graveyard.
Is it? I was wondering why it would look really weird. You know what I mean?
I was wondering why all swastikas were. It hasn't. It's been fucking.
Oh, you're joking.
Oh, it has. It has shit that whole time. Yeah, you know, it's a bit fucking weird.
It's really weird.
But it's the area where it is a hinterland of oddness. I find.
Yeah.
It's these weird, sort of smooth, featureless, rolling kind of hills, and nothing really there. And they always just, it's been stuck there, just a travellers' camp stuck there.
All right.
Which is sort of like, you know, you sort of think, you know, it's like, you know, it's been left out in the middle of nowhere, and you sort of think, well, what, you know, but there's no facilities for anybody there. There's nothing. It's not like a shop or anything. People. You know, and then you eventually get up to this great sort of mecca of sort of like consumerism, which is the IKEA. And
you think about it, what's the into your asshole and your balls? Your gooch.
Yeah,
it's like a gooch road, isn't it? You know, like industrial city, and then you go to super big hill of consumerism at the top of it. Yeah.
And I used to drive that so much, you know, there. You know, when I used to work for deliveries, you know, I used to do it, but weird. It never got unweird. It always remained weird. In a strange place. It's sort of like, it's giving me the Thursday afternoon feeling.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Goblin sighting there.
Well, there was a farm up round there, and I remember reading in 14 Times sometime in the 90s it was.
Yeah.
So we're going back now. And it was up there, and it was basically on this farmland. And what it was like a farm. So they had stables. They had a few fields more than anything, so it wasn't like cows and chickens or like that. It was more sort of stables and farmland, as in sort of grazing land for horses.
Yeah.
And they started seeing a goblin.
Whoa!
And what was happening is, you know, they do something, and all of a sudden this thing would materialise, almost like with a stink of sulphur.
Wow!
This thing would suddenly be there, and it would just be screaming at them.
Jesus!
Stamping his feet, and it's be about maybe 2 feet, 1.5 tall, something like that. Right? A broad, grinning mouth, but with full of sharp little teeth.
Ooh, God.
If I remember right, it was like a brownish, sort of like a little tanny, orangey brown.
That's fucking nasty.
Yeah, and it would just be raging, but absolutely the sound of being turned off.
Oh, like you couldn't get that into dimension.
Yeah,
as well.
and then it sort of just again same sort of thing. It just disappeared with almost like a little puff of smoke or sulphur. Yeah, it's almost like it'd been tuned in then tuned out again.
Oh.
This thing would appear, and it'd be at odd times. You'd just be walking out across the yard to go sort of get some hay or something for the horses. Then bang, this thing would appear, reek, and this raging sort of thing.
And it pops off again.
Yeah, it pops off again.
That is terrible.
Yeah.
That is really terrible.
Yeah, and I can't find this story anywhere anymore.
Yeah.
But I did read it there, and I realised, because even got to a point I actually went on a little mission to try and find that little farmhouse, and I couldn't find it.
Weirdly enough, I've been to a farm up round that area.
Really?
Yeah.
What were you looking like at the time? What were you wearing?
No,
what did you eat the night before?
Well, it's a long story. I don't even know if I can say it on here, but there were a bloke at the docks.
Yeah.
Called Phil, ginger hair, big bloke, worked like fixing stuff. Yeah, his mum and dad owned a farm up there.
Yeah.
I went up and met his mum. I don't know really why, you know what I mean?
You did weird stuff
like
that.
I saw him later on with the wife. I'm like, oh, thank God he won't. You know?
Fucking all right.
Yeah. Who knows? But it was a weird farm though. It was because it was so covered in industrial shit round it.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you where it was again. You know what I mean? We just turned up there. I know he sold it because of that little man.
Yeah. So that's a weird one. So what I've tapped onto the old Reddit forums to find some true sightings, some goblins.
Yeah, I like that.
So this is from Young Hosu. This is a story, right? So I'm writing this because I made an account here ages ago so I could ask this and get some insight, but I never had the courage. I finally feel like doing it today because it's heavy on my mind again. So I grew up in an old house in the south, kind of in the middle of nowhere, so this is American South.
Yeah.
The house was laid out somewhat circular, so you could walk from the living room through most of the rooms just by walking in a complete circle and end up back where you started. Which I find really weird. I'm very hard to sort of imagine this, but it sounds like an amazing sort of
It
place.
does, doesn't it? I like that.
Yeah. So when I was around 5, me and my younger sister were chasing each other in circles while my mum was cooking dinner. I was in front of her and we were laughing and carrying on. When we got into the dining room, in the inside corner, there was a small greenish creature with a dark cloak on.
Wow.
It had pointy ears that stuck out and sharp teeth. I was young, but I was still very small, so I'd say maybe 2 foot. It looked kind of like it had been at the bottom of a pond or something.
Oh.
Very old and tattered. It put his fingers to its lips and was grinning.
Lynch.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, don't make any sound.
Yeah, don't tell your mummy.
I slammed to a stop and my sister was chasing so close she ran right into me, which pushed us both around the corner into the kitchen. We both started screaming and my mum ran to us to see what was the matter, but the thing had gone. This has haunted me now for 25 years, and although I've done tons of searching, I've never found anything that really fits what we saw. For a long time I thought maybe I'd imagined it, and if I weren't for my sister who's also seen it, or my mum remembering our very real terror, I would have probably written it off. Have you got any ideas what this could be? There were lots of things that happening in the house when I was young. There was disembodied voices, things moving, super weird dreams. But that was obviously the weirdest and most unsettling thing. And a little idea, it says, let me mention the thing didn't look like any little man or gnome or anything like that. It was more akin to a gremlin type with no hair I could see and green skin.
Oh, God.
Isn't that weird?
Well, yeah, I have to say, it's not a coincidence. It's a strange house, round, and they're running around in circles. You know, you go around the bonfire in circles, don't you?
Are you thinking of summoning?
Yeah, I think they've accidentally summoned, or they've peeked into the other dimension because they've cast it as a
I wonder
circle.
which way they were running round, because you know that means a lot to some things.
Does it?
Yeah, these you go around clockwise, it's okay apparently.
Yeah.
But if you go the other way, there's a term. It's called widdershins.
Wow.
If you go in anti-clockwise direction around things, and I think that's the summoning way round apparently. It's to go run widdershins or dance widdershins around a sort of like a central point. Because what was the house doing being made in a circular manner anyway?
Yeah, and it's already got voices and all that. I saw some this African shaman, this bloke were filming him back in the 70s, and he's going anti-clockwise and this sand, and he's making a circle. You know, he's doing it for like when the sun's up, and then he does it till the sun goes down. Then he pours fire, you know, like petrol or something into the circle. Yeah. Then he stands in the middle of the circle and fucking starts levitating and shit. And it looked really... It could have been one of them, you know, they're very good at
some sort of like a fake hair.
Yeah, but they were filming all the way around it. You know, 2 cameramen on it, and it looked fucking real. But when you were walking around, you know, a bit when he did it for hours. You know what I mean? I thought...
That's dedication, that.
It is to the scam.
You get Paul Daniels doing that shit, didn't you?
Oh, Debbie. Woof, woof.
I always thought she looked a bit weird, Debbie McGinn.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
big eyes and like tiny, weak little chin. Yeah, she looked like a grey.
Yeah, he's a bit, isn't she?
But no, so that's the first sight we've got.
Wow, good. Right?
So we've got somebody here called Toy Beaver, which I quite like the sound of. Yeah.
I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, good one. Was that Rowboat Pete? Yeah. So the Toy Beaver is saying, I was around 5, give or take. I was going to church with my neighbour Matt, and he was my only friend at the time because I hadn't started school yet. So going with him was a way of hanging out with somebody. So anyway, this particular day we were playing outside and it's midday. Summer, I suppose, and we were running around the church. On the sides, however, are grates in the ground with ditches probably 3 feet deep. So I'd imagine sort of like down into a cellar or airways for a cellar or something like that. So you imagine these grates in the ground with ditches beneath sort of thing, So my guess is now, because of lighting getting into the basement area or something, that's what he supposes. So as we're prowling around the building and peering into the grated covered holes, we see what I can best describe as a troll. He had a huge reddish-coloured nose, nasty green skin and frayed brown hair. It was hideous. A comparable sight would be the thing in Ernest Scared Stupid, so I don't know what that is. So I think that's some sort of kids' TV thing or something like that, right? So, I think they're 34-year-old now, so it's like obviously quite a bit younger than us. It's an American, so it's something we probably wouldn't really know, right? And needless to say, we legged it out of there, yelling and telling the adults, but nobody really sort of believed us or anything like that. But he said, I never went down to that church again. And even after I got older, I never rode my bike down that road. So they basically got so spooked that they couldn't really sort of like, just couldn't get their head around it. It was just too much.
I think, you know, that bit when you're looking into a grates down, again, it's nearly like a summoning. You know, trolls are under bridges, are in dark, nasty holes. You went round and said, let's go look under loads of bridges today, troll hunting. I think you can summon some bad juju just by kind of looking for something in dark places.
Yeah, I think you are inviting. If there is something, I think the way like it is, you don't see anything unless you go looking.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. It's like, you know, it's like, I mean, again, back to Arthur C. Clarke. He said, like, you know, if you haven't seen something strange in the sky, you haven't been looking up enough.
Wow.
You know what I mean? That's the sort of, and that's the truth of the matter. You know, you could spend the day now looking up and glancing around and stuff. You know what I mean? On a clear day, say, you'd eventually see something.
Yeah, just branching off, I fucking did a house up years ago, and we'd put, is it Velux windows? What are those called? Yeah, and I started looking out at window loads. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you do. Yeah. Have a beer, have a smoke, look out a window. It was a lovely view that I'd never seen before, right down Air Valley and all that. Loved it. And I'm looking out. Then one day, I thought it was like someone kicking off bags. It was like you remember MASH, one of those helicopters?
Oh, yeah.
The really wired, steel framed ones. One of them just popped up really close, flew about a bit in front, fair distance away from me, then just fell down into the valley and really swooped down. I thought, what the fuck was that? And I'm looking, couldn't hear it, stood there for ages, it just totally disappeared. And I'm like, what was that?
Well, I might have an answer to that.
All right.
Yeah. There is, out of Leeds Bradford Airport, there's a heliport there. Yeah. And there's for whatever reason, there is still quite regular flight now, a proper old whirlybird, old style helicopter with the bubble canopy. Looks like a
that was it. That's what I saw.
Look like a dragonfly. Don't they?
Exactly. What I thought dragonfly. Yeah.
Right. Well, but they sometimes use helicopters along the valley here, where there's the power lines along the valley. Yeah. And they use helicopters to check the power lines.
Oh, mate, that'd be it then, because it didn't pop back up again. It just went to the valley and didn't.
Well, what had happened is it had gone down and been flying along the valley, checking the power lines, and come up further along the valley.
It just looked so odd to me to go down low and stay low.
But you've observed it. That's what's important, you see. But again, what's important isn't about you've seen something and we're working together, sort of like
but it's that bit. You're right. If you're looking, you do end up seeing shit.
Yeah, you see something. You see something absolutely peculiar. You know, there's always oddities to be seen. And something that's been seen here by Rhetorical Oracle 80. Wow. It's a bit of a weird one. They say, or she says, that I saw something like that too. Not like you, more like one of the goblins.
How does she fucking know?
Fucking hell! I was pregnant, so this is probably 9 years ago. I was leaving the bathroom and stepped into the hallway, and there were 2 bedrooms on either end. But our bedroom was to the left. In my peripheral vision, I first saw it. It was peering out from under my bed, smiling. It had a little round head, sort of pale greenish grey skin, and what looked like pointed teeth. I did a double take at it and kept moving. It never moved, just looked at me grinning. I would describe it as an imp, or golem like Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
So, I've also read other posts describing something similar to what I've seen.
How do you go to bed that night?
This is it. It's just
ruined, isn't it? You have to set fire to the house.
Yeah. Well, that's because that's always the constant fear. Something under the bed. Something under the bed, and then you've seen something under the bed. You think, oh, that's fucked.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Never getting in a bed again. Would you have to buy a hammock or something?
I mean, a good thing you drag the mattress off and sleep on that on the floor or everything.
Yeah.
But then
right next to it. I'll just get in with you. Oh, fuck, that's bad.
It is,
I'm
isn't it?
getting my head with that.
I'm a bit funny with beds. Like I don't like a bed. All my mates, they always used to just have a mattress on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
I hated that. I'm like, why bother with bedstead and all this sort of stuff? Students and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I just thought, don't be animals. Have a word with yourself.
I've been sleeping like that for about 3 years. Hasn't even crossed my mind, Arky.
Oh, goblins can come and
Yeah, full bed of goblins.
Yeah, they've just done it. You're so pissed. It's just a time and they're all snuggled in. We're like something off labyrinth.
I'll go and say no duvet. It's just goblins.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They just snuggle up.
Shit.
Oh,
Bring it, Benny.
They'll snuggle around and keep you warm.
cheers,
goblins.
goblins.
So we've got one more now from Lilu980, right, who's another Reddit user. And they say, when I was 15, I'm 25 now, I just moved to Florida with my mum and younger sister so that my mum could marry this guy. Sounds great. Marrying Florida guy.
Yeah.
We were living in an efficiency apartment. Now, I don't know what one of them is. It doesn't sound good,
No,
though,
it don't, does it? No.
No, it sounded a bit bleak. So we'd been there about a week, and it was New Year's Eve, so my mum and her guy had gotten a hotel room for some privacy.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
That's
When the
great.
bell goes, just think about me scutting your mama. Oh yeah, enjoy. Get yourself some popcorn.
Yeah, a bit like hooting at it.
Yeah.
We're getting muffed out, man.
Yeah, some really noisy sex.
We want some privacy. We're gonna go get a hotel room.
Oh,
Look after the appointment.
Oh. So my sister and I were watching the pineapple drop. Now this is the Florida version of the ball dropping. You see, you have it on like a lot of things for New Year's.
You're
for
right, yeah, I
America.
get
You have
you.
a ball rises to the top of something
Yeah,
and drops.
just-
It's hey,
yeah.
Happy New
The
Year.
pineapple drop.
Yeah, so that's the Florida version. So I was laying on a futon in the bed position. And my sister was lying on a small couch perpendicular to the futon. She'd fallen asleep and the festivities were over, so I muted the TV but left it on for the light. I was nervous being out by ourselves in a new state. So these kids are nervous. They've got a little apartment on their own, 15 and probably 12 or something. So I was just laying there trying to fall asleep when I heard a giggle from underneath the futon.
Fucking hell.
A giggle from underneath it.
Oh.
And it said, I looked over at my sister and even reached over and shook her to see if she was messing with me, but she was still sound asleep. And it took me a few minutes, but I finally got the courage to lean over the futon and look underneath. It was dark, so I couldn't see much, but I saw two beady little eyes and a big pointy grin.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I immediately popped my head back up and grabbed my cell phone to use the screen for light and looked under the futon again, but it was gone. There's absolutely nothing under there, so there wasn't any chance of me mistaking something else for a creature in my fear. We moved out of that place and into an actual house within the week, so I never saw or heard it again.
Oh.
Now this is one of these little hidden things, is this? And this is that niggles at me, because you say goblin, and people think, oh yeah, it's something serious, it's off a TV show, you think it's something off Lord of the Rings, or you think it's off these little thing, goblin. But the term goblin, you hear elves, you hear gnomes, pixies, all this sort of stuff, but goblin, where's goblin coming from? Is this? I think it's more eastern, sort of like a European or Scandinavian thing as a goblin. I think it was a great piece of classical music, was it? The Lair of the Goblin King, something like that.
Yeah,
And
I
I think
heard
it
of
was.
that.
Yeah, so that's why I sort of think perhaps that's the origins of goblin. But it almost, to me, it is small and trollish of some sort. You know. What do you think?
Fucking goblins.
I mean, like
think Lord of the Rings, don't you? Get to Goblin's End. He did do really good work about blending real stories into.
Exactly.
You know
yes.
what I mean?
So it's not a fancy of that Lord of the Rings franchise or the books or anything like that.
I can't remember there's like something with humans. You get like some offshoot of us or something. Like
Yeah.
that. I don't know.
Well, they say it's either elves or goblins, which are. I mean, I'd heard somewhere that it's like elves got taken and transformed into goblins.
Yeah,
somehow.
that's it, yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard something about that.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the actual origins or how it works. I find it quite hard researching goblin stuff or real, because do you know what the biggest problem is? There's something about goblins in some computer game somewhere.
Yeah.
And so there's you start looking at goblins online.
Yeah, and he's just full of computer
Just for,
games.
he goes, what you need to do to get around this fix is this and this, and you're like, oh, you know, you think, I can't follow this. This isn't, you know, it's not right. But it's, and so that is totally muddied the goblin world, as it were. You know?
It's funny, it's gobbling, isn't like you're gobbling something up. You know what I mean? It's a funny word, isn't it?
Yeah, but it could be the case that you're acting like a little greedy little goblin, but gobbling. But then I wouldn't mix up too much the sort of like the origins of certain words, because you get a lot of crossovers in English language.
Yeah.
Because we're not a Romance language, we're a sort of Germanic kind of language. Ours, you know, mixed with Celtic as well. So it's like, you know, we've got sort of Celtic roots as well with the Cornish, Welsh, Irish, and sort of Scottish languages. Some of those blend into ours, along with a lot of the Germanic ones as well. So we've got this weird little mix of our languages. So because you get these crossovers, it's like, for example, when you go up the East Coast, you'll see these weird names of all this sort of like Fangfoss, Wet Wang, all these, Blubber. Yeah, you get all these sort of like weird names. But then as you get away from there down towards Cornwall, they all totally changes. But because they might use a word for something there, it might.
Yeah, I suppose it's like which, is it? Which way is it, or which burn the witch?
I said it the wrong way, right? Yeah, but you've actually made it a lot clearer there. That's a good way of putting it, you know. So you do have these, but weirdly enough, everybody know who English is their second language. That's what they celebrate most about English. They love those nuances of little words that can be the same, and even sometimes have like whole sentences. I think this is the word buffalo, isn't it? You can say buffalo,
you said it.
Buffalo. Yeah, that's it. So these, you know, and that's what they celebrate, rather than thinking, well, you're all bloody awkward because your language is so stupid.
Yeah, it's quite cute, you know.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so that's the thing.
Goblins.
So,
keep an eye out for goblins.
So, but one thing I will say is, if anybody out there has anything that you might sort of think, well, I saw something really weird, but it can't have been real because of this. You might have had a goblin encounter.
Yeah, man.
So if you've had anything that you could say, and no matter how tenuous as well, because that seems to be the way it kind of taps in. You think, well, do you know what? Just for a half a second there, I thought I saw something, and then it was gone, so I can't have seen it. But if you did see something, give us a shout. So let us know, KRAKENCOVEPodcast@gmail.com. You know, give us a shout on there, or you can find us on the socials, like I said before. Just give us a DM or a message on there straight away.
And check under your beds.
Yeah.
Check your cupboards.
Yeah.
Check down the church grate.
That's it. So they always used to say, like, watch the skies.
Yeah.
No, but just like...
Get looking.
Yeah, look underneath.
Yeah. And be careful.
So right, I said before we got like a little story in from a listener. Right? So this one goes out to Howard.
Cheers, Howard.
Yeah, Howard's been a mate of mine for a lot of years now. You know, we used to do the tweed run together and things like this. And we had one of the most idyllic days ever. Like family.
He isn't the one on the tricycle, is he?
No.
Different dude.
That's Ed.
Yeah, all right.
That's Ed, is that? Yeah, but no, Howard. We went out just again full tweed stuff, you know what I mean? With some really good mates, and with the Deserter crew. So it's like the Deserters another website. In fact, I've got their book, the little yellow book there. It's in the yellow top. That's it. Yeah, that's their book there. This is
cool.
Yeah, so it's like Shirk, Rest and Play. Yeah,
the Ultimate Slacker's Bible.
Yeah.
Why don't I own this?
Yeah, have a borrow of it.
Yeah,
keep hold of that for now. I've got to read it. It's a good book.
Yeah.
It's a good book. Yeah, keep hold of that. Bring it with you.
Beautiful.
And so it's and they're with Andrew Grumbridge and Vincent Rayson. They're both top lads, good writers, very good writers. Yeah, all of us. In fact, I don't think Andrew was with us. I think it was just Vince. So, but we were all out all day drinking on the bikes and everything. And then it got to the point in the evening where it's like sort of about tea time-ish. We just didn't want it to end.
Yeah.
And so we just managed to sort of snaffle even more wine from places, and we went back to it was Blackheath, where we went. So it was lovely. Sun was going down over London in the distance.
Beautiful.
And we'd had some more booze, and then we eventually pulled up the bikes, wobbly bikes, outside a pub in Blackheath, and we ligged around on the heath. We had some extra snacks just in the saddlebags, like Scotch eggs and things. So we were drinking pints from the pub, and it was like, it was fucking wonderful. That was Howard at his finest. So thank you very much, Howard, for getting in touch with me with this amazing story.
Ooh.
And this is the story of Operation Fantasia.
Sounds it.
Yeah, and this is written by John Lisle, Lisle. I've not seen the publication that he's written this in, but this is the original sort of who wrote the piece. But recently been listening to things like Oppenheimer and things like this. You know what I mean? And the character, he does pop him there called Wild Bill Donovan. And he was one of the officers of from the Office of Strategic Services, which is a thing that became the CIA later on.
Right,
so these things kind of get mentioned and stuff. There's one of these real shadowy characters.
Yeah.
And what we're looking at is sort of like ways to sort of like outfox the Axis enemies. They describe it as. They wanted new methods to sort of like with dirty tricks to sort of like absolutely bamboozle and defeat the enemy. Yeah. So they were looking at unconventional weaponry. This is something we're looking at later on in the Cove as well, at different episodes. Unconventional weaponry, because some like Billy Buck.
It's really dark. Some of this stuff, the weird.
So they were using one of these ones they were looking at is things like explosive pancake mix. Right, which I don't know how that works, right? A good one, of course, which I think was a good idea, but a nasty idea, was the incendiary bombs strapped to live bats.
Oh.
Because what they do is they release them by planes. I think we did again discuss it on the Cove, but over Japan, because a lot of their wooden straw roofs. Yeah. So what happened is these. In fact, he was listening. What was the
that one in Ukraine? Wasn't it?
Yeah,
that Queen lady, with birds.
Yeah, so it's the same thing as that. Where they actually released the incendiary bombs with timers on bats, so they would go and roost in the rooftops.
Yeah, like daytime, quickly they go. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So they're working at one thing, and a foul-smelling spray they wanted that mimicked the smell of shit. So they're just going to basically smell the smell of shit everywhere.
They start dropping pamphlets. You smell of shit.
Yeah, the stink bombs everywhere, right? So but then they had one of the weirdest and most desperate ones they talked of was Operation Fantasia. Now it's the brainchild of the OSS psychological warfare strategist Ed Salinger, an eccentric businessman who had run an import-export business in Tokyo before the war. Salinger's business dealings had given him a cursory introduction to the Japanese culture. He'd learned the language, collected the art, studied the superstitions, and which is the reason why the OSS hired him. Operation Fantasia, depicts the organisation in 1943, would destroy the Japanese morale by exposing soldiers and civilians to a Shinto portent of doom.
What?
Well, Shinto's their religion.
Yeah.
So, which you'll be very much aware of. You've spent a lot more time in the East than me, you know. But it's like, because I've never been to the East, but unless you count in East Yorkshire, I'm really into Eastern religions. You know, Scarborough,
Yorkshire puddings and whippets.
So they have, their beliefs in spirit beliefs in certain creatures and demons and things like this. You see, and that's what the mindset was. That we're going to sort of like we want to sort of like expose them to something terrifying. Salinger wrote in a memo, "The foundation for the proposal rests upon the fact that the modern Japanese is subject to superstitions, beliefs in evil spirits, and unnatural manifestations, which can be provoked and stimulated."
Fucking hell, like a fake Godzilla attack or something.
Well, you got to remember this is pre-Godzilla.
Oh yeah, isn't it?
It's pre-Godzilla. Is this? It's only by the bombing of Hiroshima and things like this that I can report there is a new Godzilla movie coming out.
Oh wow!
Of the traditional type as well.
Yeah,
so it's like the proper Japanese in the suit sort of thing, right? And it's and I think it's called Godzilla -1. Mm-hmm. And it's called -1, which was because during World War II, Japan was bombed to zero, to nothing.
Yeah.
And that is when Godzilla strikes.
Oh, wow. After all firebombs and nuclear bombs.
So, it smashes it into -1. It's not...
Oh, wow.
So that sounds epic.
That does, doesn't it?
Dark
and
epic, yeah. So, which makes sense because that's the point where Godzilla was meant to be woken up by the nuclear blasts.
Yeah.
So it does make sense to set it in that period.
Yeah,
so
away.
So watch the cinemas, guys.
Straight out of bed.
Yeah. So Vince Horton, the historian and curator of the International Spy Museum, writes in his book Nuking the Moon that Operation Fantasia demonstrated the breadth of racism, ethnocentrism, and general disregard for Japanese culture held by many, if not most, of the top American military intelligence and political leadership. So mainly what he's saying is they thought that they had such a low regard for the Japanese. They saw them basically as just nothing better than savages at the time.
Yeah.
They really did. And they thought they could be easily spooked. They could be like, sort of like almost like any little savage. We can sort of spook the chaps, with something they're scared of, you know what I mean? And they thought they were gullibles. Well, this is the biggest problem they had with the Japanese. They completely underestimated the power and resilience of the Japanese.
Dedication.
Dedication and intelligence. It was, amazing culture. All you have to do is look back on the history of it. But they didn't. They scratched the surface. Used some business.
Took the bit they wanted, you know what I mean?
That's it. This is it. And this is something that very much fed to the American culture as a whole. They basically did just say, like, after World War II, when they're going to be nuking everybody there, it's like, these, they're a little better than goblins. So we're going to nuke them back into the holes, kind of thing. It was that kind of thing. Absolutely awful bit of business. So one thing that they'd sort of seen was in reality, they thought they were gullible. They thought they were sort of like easily spooked and stuff. But in reality, the Japanese culture of yokai, the realm of animals that explains the paranormal, resembles the folklore of any other culture.
Yeah.
So a scholar, Michael Dillon Foster, writes, thinking about the genesis of yokai then is really is a philosophical problem. It helps us explore how human beings struggle to grasp, interpret and control the world around them. So it's not something you are expecting to see, little beastie, right? But the one they came up with more than anything else was the fox. So the kitsune, the fox-shaped spirit with magical abilities. Yeah. Now, because that came out foremost in their thinking in this sort of plan for Operation Fantasia, they thought that they would be terrified by the image of foxes. That's the thing. So the OSS dreamt up a gaggle of ideas first. The first idea, right, was personnel that fashioned fox-shaped balloons to fly over Japanese villages.
Fucking weird.
They thought that was going to shit everyone up, right? They also asked a whistle company to create an instrument that sounded like fox sounds. So I thought, the sound of fox is going to shit everybody up, you know what I mean?
That's weird.
So in addition to the balloons and the whistles, the OSS hired another company to create artificial fox odours. Fox stinks.
I can smell a fox! Shit!
Yeah. So Salinger thought that Japanese citizens would somehow recognise this scent and cower in fear.
Oh, God, that's weird.
But despite the best efforts, balloons, whistles and smells are they're abandoned as impractical before being deployed. So instead, the SS reverted to Salinger's original plan. Catch wild foxes in China and Australia, spray paint them with glowing paint, and release them throughout Japanese villages.
What? You're going to do anything? I don't understand it.
Right, so the first thing, there's a lot of logistical hurdles. Right, what kind of paint should be used? So the United States Radium Corporation provided an answer in the form of its glow-in-the-dark paint, which contained radium.
Jesus, nuclear foxes.
Yeah, exactly. Nuclear foxes.
That is terrifying.
Yeah. The health.
Just tell the truth. We're releasing nuclear fucking foxes. Yeah. That's well scarier.
So the health risks associated with the paint weren't unknown. As early as 1917, we're going to cover the Radium Girls at one point. I think we have discussed them.
Whip paint thing.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Jesus. Women detailing watch straps with luminous paint suffered from anemia, broken bones and necrosis of the jaw, a result of them using their pursed lips to shape the contaminated brush tips into a fine point. Anyway, they didn't give a shit about that. They used nuclear paint on the foxes, right? The next roadblock is getting a radioactive paint to adhere to animal fur.
Fucking digging a stupid hole.
So they turned to Harry Nymphius, weirdly enough, a veterinary at the Central Park Zoo. In his tenure at the zoo, Nymphius had dealt with issues as varied as a paralysed elephant and a canary with a broken leg.
Right, good experience.
He recruited the help of a raccoon.
Recruiting?
Who was more than willing to have his fur painted in exchange for his daily allotment of food. The raccoon was kept under lock and key, hidden from public view. After several days of ordinary raccoon shenanigans, the paint stayed on.
Oh. Success.
To find out whether the foe's supernatural foxes would actually frighten the Japanese, right?
They'll say they brought a lot of Japanese people to the zoo to look at it.
The OSS decided to release 30 nuclear glowing foxes in Washington DC's Rock Creek Park to gauge the reaction of the locals.
Oh, mate, so they're trying to scare Japanese, but they'll try scaring the Americans. It's just madness.
If the foxes spooked the Americans, the logic went, certainly they would scare the Japanese even more.
They're pissed up, aren't they? It's gotta be.
On a summer night in 1945, OSS personnel released the foxes in the park, and the creatures scampered along the trails with promising results. The sights of the ghostly apparitions at first confused and then terrified passers-by on their evening strolls. One citizen was so concerned that he notified the National Park Police, which reported on the incident. Horrified citizens, shocked by the sudden sight of the leaping ghost-like animals, fled from the dark recesses of the park with the screaming genies.
Oh.
But then another barrage of procedural questions surfaced. How would the foxes get to the Japanese islands?
Fuck, what a waste of fucking time!
The OSS had initially planned to drop them in the ocean and let them swim ashore, but it wasn't clear.
It's gonna come off your dickheads! You didn't do that with raccoon!
But it wasn't clear whether they would survive such an excursion. Could foxes swim long distances?
Here we go, next experiment!
He sucks to be a fucking fox at this time, doesn't it? Nympheus gave his word that they could, but Salinger's team devised another experiment to test them. Under the cloak of an early morning fog, OSS personnel packed a group of captured foxes onto a boat destined for the middle of Chesapeake Bay. The foxes paced inside their small cages, and when the engine cut off, they became frantic. One by one, the personnel threw them overboard into the cold, brackish water.
You're covered in scratches, dear. What have you been doing all day? Well, love.
Well, you don't want to know. Why are your arms glow in the dark? Why have you got cancer?
Long story, love.
Yeah, where's my tea? The foxes swam and survived to the delight of the OSS team.
Delight.
Yeah. The dry, or wet, run for the Japanese invasion had been a success. But by the time the foxes reached the shore, most of the paint had washed off.
Here we go.
Yep. And within minutes of stepping onto the beach, the animals licked off the rest of the remaining radioactive paint.
Oh.
The aquatic foxes concept had proven a bust after all. If Operation Fantasia was to go forward, the foxes would have to be dropped on shore.
Parachutes.
But the greatest challenge, Ed Salinger predicted, would come after the foxes were already in place. To his knowledge, nobody had ever trained foxes. What would keep them in the vicinity of people and stop them running in the wrong direction if they encountered gunfire or barrage?
Oh, mate, this is madness, isn't it? Carrying on with it, it's just a shit idea, and then carrying on with it.
So Salinger's solution was simple. Strength in numbers. If enough foxes are released, some will get them.
Oh, wow.
And on the off chance that the foxes failed, he suggested painting readily available minks, muskrats, raccoons and coyotes as well.
Well, Noah's Ark of them.
So Salinger's off-the-wall idea got even stranger, if that's possible.
Oh, God, wow.
In one newly discovered OSS memo, found at the Army Heritage and Education Centre in Pennsylvania, he wrote that he had learned of a peculiar potent manifestation of the fox legend. So this is a different angle to it. A version of the superstition that has supposedly terrified the Japanese even more, that appears in the form of a fox bearing a death's head on his crown. His plan to capitalise on this information bears repeating in his own words. We have made a stuffed fox with a human skull affixed into its head, equipped with a simple mechanical device for raising and lowering the jaw, so as to stimulate the opening and closing of the mouth of the skull. This stuffed figure will be painted to give the same luminous effects as the case of the live foxes. And Salinger suggested draping the taxidermied fox body in black cloth painted with glowing bones. And lifting this fox-human hybrid into the air with a balloons or kite, as if it was levitating, to have an even greater demoralising effect on the Japanese.
I do not understand this at all.
He's just unbelievable. And it's basically he's got these glowing bones, or these little tiny glowing bones, and a little fox head, and then a mouth going. Right.
He's not scaring the army, he's just scaring the people, isn't it? Or a few people. Or...
Well, it's this thing of morale, of trying to break morale all the time. You know, everything you do, it's like blanket bombing buildings and cities and everything like that. People say it's going to break morale. If you attack people on their own land, you never break morale. It just doesn't happen. It can't happen. This is why the Blitz spirit was what it was. This is why even like where everyone got out in the pots and pans during the pandemic. Once you're under duress, people do genuinely pull together.
You know where to go. You know what I mean? You've got no other option.
Yeah, that's it. We are tribal people, and we'll bicker and we'll snipe and we'll get at each other. But whenever we've got a common foe, we band together and try to kill it. And even if it's glowing foxes or anything like that. But just in case none of his previous plans worked, Salinger included an addendum to the memo titled "Fox-possessed human beings." In this case, Japanese citizens sympathetic to the Allied cause would simulate persons possessed of the fox spirit, who were to strange chants purportedly emanating from the fox spirit. Essentially, they would run around in a semi-deranged state, yelling about foxes.
Oh God, he's mad! He's obsessed with foxes!
Salinger cautioned the OSS planning staff that the creation of a fox-possessed human army was in the planning stages only.
Possessed army. All glowing foxes and chattering teeth. Jesus.
This is it. None of the aforementioned harebrained schemes ever went beyond the planning and experimenting stage.
You can tell why, can't you? Wow.
It's just mad. But apparently this Lovell, who came up with this originally, all this stuff, he's known as Professor Moriarty in the OSS. And he just had this thing of making mad ideas and suggestions and just coming up with them. People thinking, I think it's because there were so few ideas at the time. They're just all like, let's give it a go, boys. And because they had so much money. Nobody expected that the actual Americans would have so much money. The war effort would really just generate millions and millions and millions for them.
I think that's the first time they tasted the power of war. You know, like the machine kicked in. They thought, God, we can do it. Everybody's working, everybody's getting paid, and everybody's really happy. You know?
This is it. And when they always talk about what's the pay of war? Where do you get your wages? And it's in land and new places. It's domination of other areas. So of course they invaded. They got Japan. They got all these other places. They got parts of Germany. They got
allies and deals and stuff, innit, and all that sort of stuff with other countries. You've got to get some people wanting on your shirt sleeves or whatever.
Absolutely. I think it's your shirt tails.
Something like that. I know what you mean.
I was thinking it through as well. But no, you are right. It's like people sort of like. It's the beginnings of globalization. When you have a world war, then what, for want of a better word, peace look like? And it's deals. Selling, exploiting others, selling to others, whatever it might be. So that's
mad ideas. Say that we won the war nearly directly down to a fucking tramp getting washed up on a beach pretending to be a fucking officer with some secret coat in his pants.
Operation Mincemeat.
Yeah, exactly. I just think that's fucking mental, but great.
Sometimes
it
happens. This is it. Or there's even like the tank. The reason why the tank is called a tank is because they were put in boxes. There was almost they were sort of sent semi-built to France with the actual tanks. They didn't know what to call these armoured devices, so they claimed they were just water tanks for storage. So they were just known as the box was just called tank. That's how they called it. So just water tank. It's just mental, and that's what the name
Fox Wars.
And weird ideas like that.
sounds an interesting fella though, mad as an arse. But...
Yeah, mad as an arse. But yeah, this is the thing though. It's like in Japan they won't do. But what is again, we are going to have to do a Japanese spirit special.
Yeah,
we are. Well,
yeah.
I keep saying we're
so
gonna
interesting,
do this.
different, aren't they?
Yeah, this is it. I'm very, very lucky. I mean, to be quite honest, a couple of weeks ago I was very lucky. I might mention it before on here. I got very lucky to look through some very high quality Japanese pornography.
Oh yeah, you said that. Yeah,
and some of the stuff on there is just insane.
Is
mate.
it?
Yeah, it's insane. So yeah, well, maybe there's a bit of a crossover there as well. So we'll
give us one porno picture that were crazy, not the squid one.
Not the squid one, no, but I did see one of the books that was from, but somebody had stolen that picture from it, yeah. Well, the two of the ones that really stuck out to me was two people shagging, and they always do massive dicks on the Japanese blokes to these things, so they always have these massive puppy veiny throbbers with tons of pubes, like. And there's always one of the biggest things that's always going on in Japanese porn is there's always peeping going on. Because it's a big thing. Is like servants might be looking at you or watching. Another weird one is like older couples, sort of very much encouraging, like they hear the rumpy pumpy going on in the next room between the sort of like paper walls, and they kind of. There's always knowing looks between older couples going, I remember when we used to do this, sort of, you know, back in the day we had fun, didn't we? There's a lot but these are things from, say, even like 1780s. One of these ones was from 1660 that I was looking sort of like, you know what I mean? These are old, you know, these are prints from sort of like, basically at the time of the Great Fire of London. These are some of these prints I'm looking at, you know what I mean? It's like very, very old stuff. But all very relevant in that sort of sense. But one of the weirdest ones was these people sort of shagging and having it away in this lovely sort of like room, and then there's outside peeking over a wall is like a peeping Tom, right? And you can see by the look in his eyes, he's super excited. That when you pan down, his dick's got such a bone, it's smashed through wall.
Through the rice paper or through fence?
Through wall.
Through wall?
Yeah, through wall with concrete and bits of stone and stuff all over the place.
Smash.
And no poking through.
That was brilliant. Yeah, a bit of humour to it.
And another good one was one of these wonderful books. It started on the front page of this really beautiful book of pornography. You know what I mean? And on the front there's a ninja.
Wow.
Right, it looks really sort of like, what's going on?
He's got his cock out too.
Yeah. Well, no, you lift up the ninja's mask. There's no head, he's just a dick.
That's brilliant. Just one stealthy dick.
Yeah, but it's no head, just a massive boner.
Wow,
that's
deadly dick.
Yeah, deadly dick.
Yeah. That's good, mate. Bloody hell. Is it that time already?
It's that time already.
That's flown. I enjoyed that. We've been all over.
We have.
Proper all over there.
It's been all over. I've enjoyed that. It's lots of a bit of variety.
Yeah, lovely being back. Lovely one for the 100 as well.
Yeah,
like you say, each
fun.
Cove is special.
Big classic Cove, I think.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yes.
It's good to have Pete back as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's cosy. The gang's back together, isn't it? Fish fingers are going to be back on the table.
Oh, mate.
You know it.
God, I miss fish fingers. I really have.
Oh, let's proper do massive sandwiches later.
Yeah, that'd be grand. We'll have to do that. That'd be great. After we clean up that swash puffy.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
I feel a bit bad about that now.
Yeah, but it worked.
Look at them all looking at us.
Yeah.
All sons and daughters.
Shit, that's the point. We don't want to grow it puffins.
They
They're like
do
dolphins all over again, won't it?
They're all fucking Orca. Oh, shit. Keep getting in it, don't they?
Us and wildlife. Hey ho. So, right, so we've got room for one more.
Nice.
Right? And this is great. This is about an assassination.
Oh, beautiful.
Right, assassination in China is this. So this is a businessman, right, called Tan Yu Hui, hired a hitman to take out his competitor for $282,000.
Wow.
Right, so big wallet money, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but business is business, and he wants to be top.
He wants to be the top dog, right? But then the issue was then that hireman, that hitman contracted out.
All right.
So he decided, right, okay, so he got another hitman to do the job. So they thought, right, get this cutting deal, we'll get this sorted out. $141,000. So you basically give him 50% of the cut. Still a lot of money.
Yes.
A lot of money is that for a hitman, right? So then this hitman thought, right, I'm going to contract this out.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And so he hired a hitman. Who hired a hitman.
Oh, no way.
Who hired a hitman.
Shit.
The plan crumbled when this final hitman hired a hitman. And he named only as met the competitor, this guy who wanted to be assassinated, right? He decided to meet up with him, told him, he says, look, he says, you're in a bit of bother here because I've just been hired to kill you and I don't want to do it.
Oh!
Right? And he says, why don't we just fake your death and call it quits?
Yeah, I like that.
Right? All 6 men, the 5 hitmen and this final guy, this competitor, the one who hired the hitmen, right, like this, were convicted of attempted murder by the court in Nanyang, Guangxi province, following a trial that lasted 3 years.
Oh, that's some complicated trial.
It's just, man, where do you sort of like go
Start.
from that? Where do you start? It's the saga of the subcontracted hitmen dates back to a professional dispute in 2013. It's taken so long to sort out when Mr. Wade took legal action against Tan's firm, the Nanyang Intermediate Courts, People's Court said on its website. Scared of losing money and fighting a lengthy court case, Tan contacted hitman Zi Guanggun and offered him 2 million yen to kill Mr. Wei. But of course, nobody wanted to do it. They just contracted out and contracted out. So in total, people were offered, first of all, it was like 270,000 yen, then 500,000 yen afterwards. There was all these little deals were going on in between it all. You want to see them all there? Look at them all.
Oh my God!
So they were all sent down at the same time.
It's weird that they're hitmen and they're not doing the job.
Yeah. Well, they do say they don't. This is the concept of a hitman is a super rare thing.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to give you a bit of telly if you wanted,
nice.
which is a really good thing that's been on TV
Love a bit of
recently.
telly.
Yeah, I think it's been on ITV this, and I can't remember. I think it was called Murder in the Alps or something like this.
Right.
And it was the kid.
Not that French stuff.
Yes.
Oh, fucking weird stuff. That is awful.
Have you seen the
No.
3-part special?
Oh shit! They got to the bottom of it.
I won't say.
Oh, cool.
So it's a 3-part special on what happened was it was an Iraqi national, once a national, but he's lived in the UK for most of his life. I think he fled here when he was about 6 years old.
Yeah.
And he lives and works in the UK. Him and his brother live here still. And he decided to go on a holiday to France in the Alps, caravan holiday. But while they packed the caravan at a campsite and stuff, and they took a drive up into the hills, and while he was there at a lay-by, just right up in the remote mountains, he'd got out to look at a sign with a map on it.
Yeah.
So on the lay-by, you see him, so you can say, you are here, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he's looking at this, right? A French cyclist pulls up to sort of say, and he's sort of saying, like, hey, how you doing, you alright?
Yeah.
From out of nowhere pops an assassin carrying a Luger. Just starts blamming away.
Whoa.
So he shoots the cyclist, he shoots the driver of the car, but he only kind of wings him, so he jumps back in the car, reverses the car up, gets it bogged down in the earth, so the car's trapped on the earth, and all he can do then is look up through his windscreen as he's trying to get the car off. Right, there's entire family in the car.
Oh man!
Pop, pop, pop! The guy just starts shooting through the windscreen. Right, his daughter was already out of the car. She's running out of the car trying to get away. He shoots her, and then goes into the back and shoots his wife and mother-in-law.
I thought a girl lived.
Well, what happened was the police turned up and found the scene.
Yeah.
They found the girl on the floor, and she'd been shot once, then pummeled with the pistol to kill her. Like, but she survived.
Oh, poor.
Right. So they conned everything off to the police, got everything sorted out. 8 hours later, they eventually opened the car up and they found the 4-year-old daughter, and the footwell in the back survived unhurt. It was cowering and hidden. The French police fucked it up completely.
Oh, fuck. That's the trauma of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it tells you about the full investigation. Really
wow, I am watching that
tonight.
tonight.
I think it's called Murder in the Alps. Yeah. Another top tip.
I love it. Well done, Arky.
Kraken Cove, the gift that keeps on giving.
With a bit of telly.
So there we are, Arcade. I think what we need to do now is get Oven on and let's see what Pete comes back with from the.
Do you know how many we're going to have?
Go on.
100 fish fingers.
Oh, how wonderful!
Till they're all coming out of his ass.
The century.
50 each, Arcade.
Oh, I
We can do
that,
it,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, here's to another 100 Kraken Coves, Arcade.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you for listening, everybody. We
Yeah,
really do
keep with
appreciate it.
us.
Yeah, keep hanging in. Spread the word if you can, because actually the old listener numbers have been up, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got about 4 now.
Please keep listening.
Yeah.
Spread the word.
Spread the word of the Cove, yeah, and we're going to, hopefully, in the next few episodes, we're going to sort of try upping our game a little bit. But, you know, we're all being very, very busy boys, you know, and I'm trying to keep on the old art career and stuff like that.
Exactly. You are a very busy boy.
Yeah, that's it. So all it remains for me to say is a big bye-bye from Matt.
It's a bigger bye-bye from Benjamin. And guys, take
Take care.
There are 3 ways you may contact Kraken Cove. Either by email at krakencovepodcast@gmail.com, on Twitter at Kraken Cove, or Instagram at Kraken Cove Pod. Ha ha!